My dad was born in Calgary, Alberta. He came to Winnipeg when he was elementary school. And then he lived here most of his life, although there was a period of time where we worked for a company called Industrial Acceptance. And he was a branch manager in Sault Ste. Marie, and then in Belleville, Ontario for 2 or 3 years each stint. So we moved back to Winnipeg in 1959 when he came back. My grandfather bought a truck franchise, white trucks, and my father came back to work with my grandfather.
He had a number of really small businesses when he moved back to Winnipeg, which was unique. He wasn't just fixated on one particular business that he wanted to get going. He had a gravel pit. He ran a miniature putting operation at the Red River X. He eventually drifted into the car business, but he really had an interest in business.
My father got involved in a used car lot with a friend of his from Industrial Acceptance, Cheryl Haddad. That later became Birchwood Motors. I think after a while he realized that being in the car business was a good income and a good business, so he focused on that. And we were in the leasing business, and also we were in the window business. We've been in lots of businesses. My father kept finding businesses to invest in.
It was just second nature to him to start things, to create things, and then to invest in them and see them grow. He loved to plant seeds and nurture and grow things, and I think he looked at business very much the same way.
No matter how busy my dad was, he was always home for dinner, talked to you about what you did during the day, how things were going, talked about politics, and we talked about the community, and we talked about anything that was important to us at that time.
He always showed kind of an inner strength and a calmness to the family that the family was so important to him.
My dad seemed to surround himself with younger people and give people a chance and let them grow. That was important to him. I think in part because he had that entrepreneurial spirit himself, and he wanted the opportunity to grow, and he'd been successful at it, and he just wanted to pass that on.
As a young person in a young organization, we were buying businesses on a constant basis. I think we were adding an enterprise every month. National Leasing, its equipment finance division, was the rocket ship, and I became the pilot of it, and Bob Chipman was the chairman of the company for the last 20 years. So it was fun to work with him and get a sense of how he started things, how he was glad to pass them on to someone else, but always able to stay in the background to help solve problems. And he was a phenomenal problem solver because he looked at a business problem like a puzzle. There's always 2 or 3 ways out, and there were always good opportunities. I think he understood employee engagement before it became a fashionable term. Because he took an interest in people, he really got them excited. But then he would come back to the big table and say, we need to grow this organization because we have to provide opportunities for all the young people. So I often thought that we had to be the only organization in Canada that had as a strategic plan to grow because we had to provide opportunities for young people. It didn't make sense, but it sure worked for him.
You know, Bob made people feel so special, and really that's what made him so very special, was the way he just, you were the most important thing in the world when you were talking to Bob. That's the way he made you feel. He liked to see people succeed in Winnipeg because he didn't want them to leave Winnipeg. He nurtured a lot of successful people in Winnipeg, and again, that was just another way of him giving back to the community.
He was so proud of being a Winnipegger and so grateful for the opportunities that he had received in this city. He felt it was the best place in the country to live.
I know he worked hard behind the scenes, just trying to encourage people to give back to the city. He was a big booster of the city of Winnipeg, promoted the city of Winnipeg, and he encouraged young people. He encouraged lots of people who worked with him and other people who were in different businesses. He just kept being encouraging and challenging them, and they felt that he was there behind them. And I think when you know there's someone there supporting you, you can be successful.
We got involved in the business of hockey because we felt like if we did so, we had a better chance of that level of play coming back. But when the opportunity did materialize or started to become real, he was like, hey, we got, if you can do this, you've got to find a way to do this. And so he was quietly just a great influence on that process. I think it was just an honest love for people that people remember him for, his warm smile, and he knew everybody's name. He had so many wonderful attributes. His strong faith and his love of people is really what defined him.
I think the only way he'd ever would take an award would have been posthumously, because he would never accept it when he was alive. So it's a nice recognition, but it's more of just the concept that we do live in a great city. We need to support it. We need to be all in as citizens, as my father was.